Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to welcome everybody who's joined us for the seminar, for the webinar this afternoon. Thank you for joining us, and a big thank you to Brad Lazarus for hosting. I'll let him do his full introduction. This is the second in our weekly webinars, and we'll be having
the
a short
number is
break.
440.
Oh, whoever's, I'm just going to mute that person. Can we just have a few rules for today's webinar? If you've got any questions, please do put them on the chat, so I will be able to see them, and then I'll be facilitating the questions for Brad. So yeah, I'm going to hand over to Brad, and also just as a final, if anybody would like a one-to-one business appointment with either myself or with Hannah Mindell, then please do contact us, because we'd be delighted to do a one-to-one appointment with everybody. So over to you, Brad.
Great. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. So let's, I'm guessing you're kind of all here really because you've got some issues or around the fact that you've dropped your revenue, you've lost customers, and for a lot of people that's kind of fallen off a cliff type of scenario. So what we're going to do today is just give you some kind of, just some outlines, some frameworks, some things to think about in terms of how you can take your offline business and bring some of your products and services online and maybe even develop them a little bit further. But before I kind of get into that, it's probably just worth mentioning who. I just did a few slides here, so I won't go into any huge depth here, because the idea is that it was a Q&A, but I think a lot of the time the questions come from stimulating your thought processes as well. So as Joe said, if there's any kind of questions in the meantime, just put them in the chat and we'll kind of cover them as and when we go along. So my name's Brad Lazarus. My main business is Goliath Sourcing Academy. It's exclusively an online business. So what we do is we teach people how to find property deals. We're a training business. So we offer online training and resources to help people find property deals. So obviously we're actually getting a little bit busier now as people start to see that there might be opportunity in the market over the next few months. So it's quite an interesting time for us in terms of maybe even some kind of potential growth. So we're exclusively online. We've only ever done one seminar offline, so entirely online, and we have a remote team all over the world. So there's 6 of us full time, and then we have a lot of freelancers all over the world. So everywhere from, you know, the Philippines, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Birmingham, York, and then me in London. So we're not really required. Our whole service does not require us to meet our customers face to face at all. So might give you, the reason I put that in there is just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea as to why I might be vaguely qualified to kind of talk about this kind of stuff. So the way that I like to think about taking your offline business online is really looking at, you can look at this in 2 ways to think about this really. So and it's just to also clarify here as well, I can't, everybody's got lots of different businesses here. So it's very difficult to kind of be prescriptive around, this is what you should do. You should do A, B, and C. It really is, I can give you the kind of the frameworks, and it's up to you to think about your business in the context of the framework and find your own answers essentially. And we can kind of talk about that as well before we finish today. So so yeah, these 2 approaches to think about. Primarily, you can look at this scenario that we're in now. We're in a kind of, we're all quarantined, we're all locked up. We don't know quite how long this is going to go on for. So you can see that this, in terms of your business, you can see this period now as a, you can look to go online to plug a revenue gap. That's one way of doing it. So when we're all out of lockdown and we're all back to normal in X number of weeks or months time, you get back to normal. Or you can see this now as an opportunity where you can create a new online revenue stream for your business, a new permanent profit center, essentially. So you're almost looking to kind of diversify you can use this opportunity now to diversify and strengthen the foundations of your business as well. So it depends on, exactly what, how you see your business as to how you want to think about it in either of those two terms. So that's very much from a high level perspective. So let's take the thought process and the framework that I kind of like to think about when I when I think about new products and services for our online business. So there's this you do it, done with you, and done for you. Now, most businesses, particularly the businesses which lean towards the offline model, if you like, the physical, you have to be physically present in order to help your customer or your client. They tend to lean towards the done for you. So these are consultants, agents, service providers, people like photographers, video producers, cake makers, all these people that we know, that all you guys here, presumably the vast majority, that require to be, have almost face-to-face contact with your customer or your client. So that tends to be the done for you kind of model, if you like. Now, but there's many opportunities that exist in the done with you and the you do it kind of bucket, if you like. So these rely on you kind of giving the tools, the resources, teaching customers how to get the results that they want, maybe with less input and resource coming directly from you. So as a result, it means that you need to be with them less. So thinking about an example around that. So like a done for you example, I'm just going to be really kind of top level here. Done for you example is a restaurant. You have a restaurant, you go into the restaurant, they make the food for you, you choose what you want, they make it, provide the environment for you. It's a done for you solution. So then you've got, if we think the next stage is the done with you. So the done with you is the takeaway service or the pickup service. They provide the food, but you provide the dining experience. They're doing it they're doing it with you is the point. So it's like a half and half type of relationship. And then there's the other example, which is the you do it type of example. So these have come about in the last 2-3 years, is these home meal prep kits. This is an example of you do it type, an offline business. So you could quite feasibly be a restaurant that then produces meal kits or meal home prep kits. So they provide you with the options of what you might want to eat over a 3 or 4 day period. They then, you decide what you want them to deliver. They deliver it to you. You've got all the ingredients. You put the ingredients together. You make the meal, you provide the environment from which it's eaten in. So that's like the you do it type of experience. Now, each one of these has a kind of, if you think about this from the price point perspective, each one of these has a progressively higher price point. So the you do it price point is lower than the done for you price point because there's less input from you as the business owner, as the technician. So let's just kind of move on to this other framework. So this is the second framework, which is less of a framework, but it's the product ladder. As you've probably all heard of the product ladder, which is the low priced to the high priced offers within your business, products or services within your business, but they're all dependent on the value. They're all priced based on the value that you offer. So if you think about creating more products or services that fit into that done with you or the you do it category. So if we kind of take this restaurant theme again, so the restaurant business could have the dine in, the takeout, the meal prep kit. That's the 3 buckets of activity which I mentioned before. But then you'll also see a whole load of you'll see other offers in terms of a cooking school. Now the cooking school could be on site, but you can also have a cooking school off site or online. So you can have video lessons. In those video lessons, you can have one-to-one lessons. You can have group lessons. You can have there's lots of different ways that you can take what your expertise and bring that into an online environment by thinking around that the done with you and the you do it category. So another example, I think we had an example, didn't we, about the chocolate workshop? Was that right, Joe?
Yeah, that's right. So we had somebody that's looking to do chocolate workshops and activities and wants to know how he could possibly run those.
So here's another example of somebody that you know, presumably have like a training room, for example, and now you can't go in that training room. The customers can't come to that training room. The obvious thing, the first step to do would be to take that training online. Now, the simplest and quickest way of doing it is you do something like this. You do a Zoom and you show somebody how you do the chocolate making online. That's the most basic form of it. Now, if you wanted to turn that, it's not, how do you turn that into a great experience? Because the experience of being in a training room with an instructor is a much richer experience than doing it over Zoom, for example. Well, the next step is you could kind of create an overhead camera. So you can do the class, you can have the camera pointing down on the actions that you're doing. So it creates, and you can do a follow along as that person follows a lot. The instructor is instructing and the person's following along, but they see very clearly what exactly is going on from an overhead perspective. Now you see this a lot, for example, in Masterclass. Gordon Ramsay, I don't know if anybody has ever seen Masterclass. If you go to masterclass.com, it's an online repository of experts who are teaching people what they know. So Gordon Ramsay, for example, does a cooking masterclass. And if you watch the way that he does that and the production elements of it, it creates a much richer experience for that customer than it would do if they were, just being filmed kind of straight on. So you could do one-to-one coaching, for example. So again, it would be, or you could do, group coaching. You can, once those videos are done, they can then be uploaded, for example, into an online area, and you could give that customer the login details so that they can go back and re-watch it in their own time, or maybe they can go and be part of a membership site. So you can do regular workshops. They can access the content 24/7. They can replay it. You can give them resources to be able to actually implement what it is that you're teaching them. So you could sell them. You could also sell them the various different implements that they need, or you can link to an online shop, for example, spatulas or bowls or that type of thing. So you can create another revenue stream that way.
So on that, Brad, funny enough, we just had a question about how that would work from an interior design perspective. So I'm guessing that would be a really good link up, wouldn't it, to link up with people that have accessories, for example. But what about from a kind of an interior design perspective?
So who was that asked that question?
That was not Nicole.
Okay.
It was Ian.
Okay, no, well, that's interesting, because I spoke to Nicole the other day about this, and if you're an interior designer, so you're an interior designer, think about the steps that you take in order to be able to provide the solution to your customer. So presumably you would go through the step of going and viewing the, you'd have the room layout. You would then put together some kind of, you'd speak to the customer about what their brief was. Then you would take that brief and you would put that together as, you would bring all the elements of the design together. Maybe you'd create some kind of a mood board of some description. Then once you take that mood board, you'd then look to go and source the products that were in that mood board. Now, if you take each of those steps individually, there's huge value in each one of those steps. Now, most of the time with the offline business, they would do all of that in one go. But if you take each of those steps individually, you can then start to use the framework of done with you and you do it, and you can create information products around each of those steps. So you can if you put the steps together, so for example, how do you create a mood board? Well, maybe there's 6 or 7 steps to create a mood board. Well, you can create a short class around that. That short class can then be put online, and you can sell that class for £99, for example. Now, the next step on from that is once you get 5, 10 people buying that £99, how to create a mood board class. I'm just using the example. You might need to do more than just a mood board. But the point is, once you've got that customer, the next step is that somebody might want you to then go and they might want you as the interior designer to go and actually create the mood board for them. So that's one up the product ladder. So that's more of a done with you type solution. So maybe at that point they consult with you on exactly what it is that you're looking for in terms of design. And then you go off and create the mood board, but for that you're charging them £500, for example. So we can kind of, and that's more of a done with you. So, you know, at the start, the £99 course was the you do it using my framework and my system. Then the £500 one is, okay, fine, I will do it with you, is the next level up. Then the next level up from that is maybe I can source the products for you and work within your budget. So that's another added value that you're offering. So that can become a higher price product in your product ladder. So that's kind of that product ladder and the done with you and the you do it kind of playing itself out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's it. I can't see her on here, but
thank you, Brad. It's me that who were asking that. I'm just have another small question, because
Sure.
I usually design for commercial spaces like restaurants and coffee shops, and they're not really using mood board just as a, like, it's really the initial step of taking the whole process. So in this time where all the constructions are on hold, and no one is actually even enjoying the restaurants or the coffee shops, what advice will you have to give in terms of going with the services online?
and we've had another question, Brad, about should online service cost the same as offline?
Again, it depends what you're offering. So just that latter question, when you're offering a one-to-one service, it should be at the top of your product ladder. It's the most value you're offering from you as an individual, and the time that it's taking you, it should therefore be, and it's your expertise on a time for money basis. That's right at the top of your ladder, and that should be what you should therefore be charged. That should be the most expensive product in your product ladder. Down the bottom of the product ladder, to me, it gets less expensive because it's less of your individual time input. It's less of your resource that you're putting into it. It's a much more leveraged model. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, I think it does.
But in terms of the commercial space, but presume, sorry, who was it that asked that question? I can't see. Yeah, in terms of that, you don't need people to be eating in the bars and the restaurants in order to provide your service, presumably.
But my whole idea is to improve restaurant for the experience of the customers.
So then for me, this is a much longer term. So you're looking at, so before somebody implements what it is that you help them with, it can be a 6 to 8 month period, can it? Between the point that you start working with them to the point that they implement what it is that you're offering them?
Yes.
Right. So then for me, you should be able to do that to a certain extent on a virtual basis. So for example, just give you an idea, like we at the moment, we teach people how to find property deals, but estate agents aren't open. So there's no one for them to actually go and talk to in terms of actually going and finding and being able to buy a property. So we pitch that in a way as now's the time to prepare. Now's the time, because it's all going to, there's opportunity in 6 to 8 months time. There's latent demand. People are going to be out. They're going to be wanting to get involved. They're going to be wanting to go to the cafes and the restaurants and the bars. They're going to be wanting to do property deals, etc. There's going to be that demand. Now's the time where you need to actually be preparing for when the customers come back. That's the way that we've pitched it. So from that perspective, I see that more of a marketing positioning for you, rather than the fact that people don't want what you've got. They will want what you've got. They just because the bars and cafes aren't open now doesn't necessarily mean that that they don't necessarily want to prepare for that point. But you could quite feasibly do, like, if you, I mean, have you spoken to those people, the prospects, in the last 2-3 weeks?
No, but I had 2 projects that were put on hold because of that.
Well, I think you're going to get projects that put on hold because people naturally think, well, you know what, that's that. You know, we're done for the next few weeks. I might as well kind of shut the book and close up for a while. But I actually think it's up to us as business owners to come up with a reason why they should take action now. Yeah. It's us that we have to market the service that we've got. So, for example, you then need to come up with a solution to help them take the next step. Yeah. So, for example, again, I can use the example in my business. People are struggling to understand, to reconcile this idea that we teach them how to find property deals, but there are no estate agents open, therefore they shouldn't start training with our product. And we're saying, you know what, you should start training with our product. You can do things now. And here's a short course on how to build relationships, find investors, and do property deals when you're working remotely in a virtual world. So we've created a 30-minute course which helps them and shows them what to do to take the next step, to be able to then actually implement and really push that purchase of our product.
Thanks, Brad. So look, we've also had another question, which kind of which is from Michael Ross. How do you test for popular search words on YouTube and Instagram? I'm guessing that's in terms of, well, Michael, if you want to unmute yourself, or I can unmute you just to kind of develop that question a bit.
Hi. So one of the things that I'm thinking about doing is trying to reach people online, perhaps via a regular vlog, sorry, on YouTube. And I'm just kind of wondering what to call it, or I don't know quite how it works, but whether YouTube picks up things based on the name or tags or whatever, and also what words to use.
Yeah, it's quite, it's a science in itself, all of that. And it's, yeah, we could spend the next 2 days talking about it. I think the reality of it is the best thing to do, I would say, without getting too technical, you can go and use Google. YouTube's owned by Google. Therefore, you can go and do a YouTube search term. You can go and do some keyword research on YouTube inside the Google Keyword Planner. So if you just Google Keyword Planner, you might have to set up a Google Ads account, but in there you can go and do a search for YouTube keywords. But before you do that, it's like a huge well of data. So you'll get very kind of, I would start by starting to really kind of understand who's the person that you're trying to target and what might they be searching for to start with, and then start doing your searches on YouTube.
And from Craig, we've had check out TubeBuddy and vidIQ.
Yeah. But again, there's all the tools in the world that you can use, and I think without knowing who your customer is and having a best guess initially at what they should be what they will be searching on, you'll get very confused with the tools. You need to start somewhere because there's a lot of words in the world. So you need to start with something which is a foundation point for you and what your customer might be searching on. And another good place to do that is if you go onto Google, if you get in the mind of Google, if you go onto Google and you use one of what you believe to be your customer's search terms, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a load of suggested searches. And that's what, again, is what Google's thinking.
What name was that? The tool you said again? Google something.
Well, the Google keyword tool, or the keyword tool, Google keyword tool, is a good place to start. You know, that's free. The data is provided by Google. There are literally hundreds of other apps and keywords research tools that you can go and use. But as I say, I think the first step is to really get under this, understand who is your customer and what might they be searching on.
Yeah, thank
you.
you.
On this, Brad, funny enough, we've had another couple of questions about kind of, which is going a little bit off topic, but very key to the topic, is kind of how to market, you know, how to market skills online. So somebody's a health practitioner. How do I get out the time offering skills online? How do you market cooking lessons? So obviously that was kindly Brad and another of our WeHub members, Shai, in September, back in the heady days where we were all in WeHub, came to do a session on actually how to market businesses.
Yeah.
So maybe just cover briefly, because
I would start, you know what, I would, yeah, there's nothing like a referral, you know. So if anybody has used your service previously, go to them with your new service, with your new offering, with your more online based offering, and go and ask them if they can refer you. Go and ask them if they can think of 2 or 3 of their friends or associates or colleagues that are thinking of doing XYZ, i.e. related to your business, and ask them if they could, if they could refer you. That's the best place to start. You can, you know, go and depending on what area you're in, for example, a good place to start might be going and getting involved in other Facebook groups around your topic and industry sector. So you go in and don't do what horrendously what a lot of people do, is go in and just post a link to your service. It's just not going to work, and you'll get banned and you'll never be allowed back in there. So go in and start getting involved in the discussions. So do a search on Facebook. You know, it might take you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 searches to find the right groups. It might take you a week, 2 weeks of trying to go and find the group. There's a lot of Facebook groups on there which are just dormant. There's nothing happening in them, but you'll find 2 or 3 groups. Focus on finding 2 or 3 groups that you can engage in the conversation with people. And then eventually, as you start offering value, there might be a contextual opportunity to offer what it is that you've got. But you need to do the groundwork and actually offer value inside the conversation in the community. In the same way that you wouldn't go into a room, a networking event, and just go, the first thing that you say is, look, this is what I can do for you. This is what I can do for you. This is what I can do for you. You'd have a conversation. Have a conversation online. It works the same way. We're all human beings.
Great,
so those are 2 things that I would do. The other thing, if you really wanted to get involved in Facebook, I would consider doing some local Facebook ads, for example, but that is getting a little bit more kind of technical. Facebook offer a free Facebook ads course. They want you to know how to use their platform, because then you'll spend more money, get more customers, and keep spending more money. So they give free information, free courses on how to do Facebook ads. So learn how to do Facebook ads. It's how we grew our business, entirely on Facebook. You know, we spend 2-3 grand a month on Facebook ads, and it brings customers in. So those are 3 ways. There's probably about 25 others.
I'm just asking, could please everybody, rather than message me privately, could everyone just message the group? Because people might have answers as we're going along. So you don't need to message me privately. You can, I mean, unless you really want to, but otherwise just message the whole group. We've had a question from Elisa, who's a dietitian, who said, do you have any platforms that you could suggest to create courses with? Actually, you know what, Elisa, I'm going to unmute you and you can just ask your question, or just unmute yourself so you can ask your question better than I could. Okay, here we are. You're unmuted. No, you're not. There we are.
Thank you. Hi. Apologies if my baby chirps in the background. I'm trying to listen and entertain my 14-month-old at the same time. But basically, I had an amazing experience with weaning with her. And I am a dietitian, and I'm currently doing virtual consultations so that my practice continues online. But I'd like to extend that by creating a course on weaning and upload it on my website so that people can actually buy it. And I'm just not sure of if there's an app out there, or I should be doing videos, or I'm not quite sure how to go about doing it.
How to go about it, yeah. So
Yeah.
I would definitely do videos. So the simplest, so you can go all tech in this world, and I think the best thing to do is start really simply and then iterate and move up to the more complex tech stuff, because ultimately you're a technician that's got expertise and a skill, and the most important thing is how do you most simply get that out to your customer base. So you could go and use an online platform that exists already, like Teachable, or you could go and so I would definitely use video. So the more face to camera video that you can do, the more engaged your customers, and the more the richer the experience that you're able to put out there. So you always got to be thinking, how can I use the online mediums to create as close as an offline experience as I can. That's how we always think. So we always try to be as experiential as possible. So the starting point would definitely be a face to camera. If you don't want to do that, you can go behind, you can use PowerPoint slides. Once you've created that, now you can record these videos on an iPhone. It's more than sophisticated enough. I mean, we've been running for 4 years in our training business. We've only now gone on to DSLR cameras. Everything was recorded via an iPhone or just recording the screen on a laptop over the top of PowerPoint. So you've got everything that you need to start recording and getting your content recorded now. The next thing is, how do you host that online? Well, as I say, you can go to Teachable, you can go to Udemy, Lynda. These are platforms which are there, which enable you to take your content and easily put them into a container, which has a paywall that you can let your customers go in from. So you can use that platform and then go and find customers and send them to that platform to pay and access your content. That's probably the simplest way of doing it. The next step would be to go and probably set up a WordPress site with a membership plugin. You're starting to get a little bit more technical there because it's a bit more of a DIY approach, but I would start with possibly looking at the hosted, the non-self-hosted platforms like Teachable, Udemy, Lynda, those types of platforms first. Does that answer your question?
Yes,
I could go on for about 2
does.
days talking about that.
And also somebody else has said Upwork, asked about Upwork, which is another platform. I mean, there's loads of platforms for freelance people. There's Bark, there's Upwork, you know, so
I would definitely look at all of those. And we've been using Upwork for 10 years, 12 years now, when I think it was called Odesk before. There's FreeUp, which is another. There's lots of these platforms. I think what you need to be a bit careful of when you're going to these online platforms is that they commoditize you.
so
and
you
then
you're not necessarily get the value. You're not
exactly
paid the value.
yeah, you start to become a supermarket of technicians. They say, here's your basket on the way into the supermarket, go and put all these people in a basket and we'll go and find the cheapest one for you. And you need to be a bit careful about that, because you need to keep your value up, that's all.
And also Hannah asked, is this Hannah Mendel asked a good question about, do you think it's worth being busy online over this period, even if it doesn't earn income?
Absolutely. Everyone's online. Now is the time we've seen our numbers, our social numbers. Interestingly, we've seen our social numbers go up in terms of our people that are joining our Facebook groups, people engaging with posts, people do all those measures of engagement that we measure and we report on every single month. They've all gone up. Our sales haven't necessarily gone up with it, but I think that's potentially industry specific. I think people are sitting on their hands. They don't really quite know what's going to happen in the next 24 hours, never mind the next year. So then maybe they're saving a little bit of money. But with the right offer, but in answer to the question, I think now is the time to start building relationships with people, generating leads, communicating, engaging. Now's the time to do that, because I think everybody is online.
I agree. And I think Facebook actually is getting a bit of a revival at the moment. You know, whereas people were kind of turned off it, now people are using it to better use.
Yeah. I mean, interestingly, funnily enough, today I noticed Virgin Active, I have had it down here as an example, I might as well mention it. Virgin Active just sent through all their members an online kind of exercises, essentially. So they're doing it. Everyone's going online, and it's not gonna, yeah, we'll revert back to where we were 3 weeks ago, but all those baby boomers that have to now work out how to use Zoom, they're all now potential customers. You know, it's all those people that were too, what is this online? We can't possibly have a meeting we can't possibly meet online. They'll now all be happy they'll be much more comfortable being delivered your product, service, consultation, whatever it is that you offer online. So I think now's the time to jump in on that and get yourself to the point where you feel comfortable delivering that service and you have an offer which is right for your marketplace.
And we've been talking, Hannah and I have been talking to lots of clients about, you know, just marketing and communicating, because it's so much better to be engaging with the clients, even however you're doing it, by phone, by email, on social media. Just keep up that engagement, because people will remember that at the end.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think if anything, we've doubled down on the amount that we're trying to engage. So we put out people want news at this point. They want news related to the problems that they have. So we do, you know, a twice weekly news bulletin on Facebook Live. You know, for our paid members, instead of doing a monthly Q&A call, we're doing a weekly Q&A call now. So we're really just kind of loading up the engagement and the value while everybody's at home. You know, we had a webinar the other day where we had 400 people on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, it's just unfathomable 3 weeks ago that we would get those type of numbers, you know. So those were normally for 8 p.m. type numbers, you know. So people are there. They want information. It's just a case of knowing and working out and figuring out what it is that they want.
So no more questions so far. So if you want, I don't know if you want to go back to the slides, or you just
what else have I got here? Yeah, the idea is to really, everybody's got a skill. You know, you know, you have lots of skills, lots of expertise, and it's about using the frameworks of the, you know, the done with you and the you do it and the, you know, you know, we'll do it for you framework, and then thinking of that product ladder to kind of help you think laterally and creatively about how people can benefit from the skills and the expertise without you necessarily being there. Now, if you use this opportunity now in the next few weeks to create those offers which are more leveraged, which don't necessarily need 100% of you, when we come out of this at the other end in the next few weeks, you're going to have people that still want one-to-one contact. They still want that done for you solution, but you've got a whole other profit center to your business, which will make it so much stronger over the long term. And it opens you up to a whole market. If you consider the fact that the one-to-one stuff that you do when you deliver to your customers should be the higher priced, but any product ladder has products above it and products below it. So you can take any point in the product ladder. You should always have something. 20% of people will want the more expensive thing. So if you start with something which is £99 for a short course, or, you know, some kind of quick consultation of some description, you know, there's 20% of the people that take you up on that will then want the next higher priced product with more value. Everything works 80-20.
And we've also had another question. Is this from Daniel Abramovich on any platform you can recommend for advertising? But I mean, it's such a wide marketing question. I guess is that Daniel Abramovich who asked that? Because if
I
it
would,
is, it's, you know, it
I
really
think
depends on the product, I'm guessing.
well, it depends on the product, but I also think it depends on the intent of your prospect. So you generally got the two primary platforms. One's Facebook and one's Google. So Google Ads. Google Ads is great if you've got prospective customers that have a specific buying intent, or you know exactly what it is that they're looking to get the answer for. You can put your product in front of them. That's where Google Ads really works. So it's kind of like they've got an itch and they need to scratch it. That's where Google Ads really works. Where Facebook Ads works is more of a, there isn't that explicit intent. There's an implicit intent, if there's such a thing, but it's not explicit. They might want what it is that, so we use Facebook ads. We know that people do want to find property deals, but they're not specifically out there looking on Google going, how do I find property deals? They implicitly thinking it. And if we put a piece of content in front of them, like the 7-step guide to finding your next property deal, that's where we get people coming into our world. So that's why we use Facebook ads, and we focus and we try and find people with interests in property or in investing.
And knowing actually Daniel's business, which is Sesame Kingdom, which is selling halva and tahini, I'm guessing also he's probably got an email list. So definitely be emailing people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things about being online is, well, there's a couple of things. When we talk about the interior design, or talk about the done with you and the you do it stuff, your market is not, it's not a catchment area around where you live. Your market is potentially worldwide. And if you're in a niche that you think is too small, and you've had to kind of, I won't go too deep into that, but your market's worldwide. You can go, if you're offering an interior design, a done with you interior design service, like how to create the mood board, how to, I don't know quite what's involved with interior design, but, which is kind of leaving me kind of short, but but the section that you don't necessarily need to be in contact with your customer, i.e. it's not the done for you service, you've got a worldwide marketplace. Now, it really, and the world it never ceases to amaze me how many prospective customers there are out there. And it's just enormous, the potential to go out there and find prospects looking for the solutions and the products and the services that you can offer on that online basis, i.e. the done with you and the you do it basis.
And Matt asked, have you got any specific ideas for coaching? I mean, I guess I'm understanding from a lot of people who are in kind of services like psychotherapists, clinical psychologists, that this is a perfect
this is so amazing. This is such an amazing. So I was listening to a podcast the other day about a guy that runs I think it was 40 speech therapy clinics in Australia, and in a week he took his whole business online. From the point that everybody in Australia was in lockdown, he went online. And he created 3 different levels of service, which were all online based. What they were, I'm not entirely sure. But again, it's up to you within the context. But the simplest thing to do is to create, it's just to do Zoom calls. That's the obvious starting point. But if you want to get into, that's delivering the one to, so someone like Matt, for example, I know Matt does this anyway. He does these kind of video conference calls anyway, but you can take it a step further than that. You've got an expertise and maybe a system and a framework that you take your clients through when you speak to them during your consultation. Well, document that. That's got that system, that framework has got a huge amount of value in it. If you document that, you can create a course out of it. You can create a you do it or a done with you offering out of the framework and the step-by-step process that that you take your one-to-one customers, your done for you customers through. Now with that, you can create worksheets, accountability programs, you can do group calls, you can do progress logs, you can do, you know, you can put them into league tables, you know, who's progressing faster, for example. I mean, you can do loads of, there's so much stuff. And I think one of the great ways of, there's so many people out there already doing everything that I'm talking, nothing that I'm talking about is new. It's all exists out there, and it's all the people that have been online for the last 15 years developing all this stuff out that you can go and learn from.
We've also had somebody say, which I guess is a little bit more hard to do online, you know, she does acupuncture, which I guess is a bit more, but and I guess that would be the same if you're a dentist or something, but you know, there will be, I guess, other aspects of that service.
So you can look, I have bought a course on how to cure my knee pain from running. So that's monetizing IP, monetizing intellectual property. Now, I'm not necessarily, it's I think it was like a $49 course, and it was, I had patella tendonitis, and it gave me the 16-step program on how I could cure it myself. So how was I able to, now I'm not saying that that's necessarily the right thing to do, but what this guy had, he was a physiotherapist who had expertise, he had skills, he had a system by which he recognized that he was taking his one-to-one clients through, and he wanted to monetize his intellectual property, his blueprint, and he put that into a course and he sold it online. And he has a world, I mean, it was an American guy from Ohio, you know. Previously, all he had was probably clients that were in a 45-minute drive of his, you know, his practice. So now he's got this whole other revenue stream. And I can guarantee that so many of a lot of the people that would have bought his course would then end up being much higher value one-to-one clients at the back end of it.
In fact, I had a really interesting story I saw on LinkedIn from somebody who runs a spin club down in near where I live, near East Finchley. And she started, which obviously she can't, you know, she can't do. So she started a process. I'm not exactly sure how it's working, but she has managed to find somewhere to rent out either the bikes from the studio or find places that people can rent bikes. And then she's running those spin classes online. So, you know, again, really inspirational from that perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look at Peloton.
Yeah.
Peloton's, I mean,
that's the classic example, isn't it?
I mean, I mean, the growth of that company over the last 3 weeks has been astronomical. So, you know, again, that's a done with you spin class, you know. Now it's difficult. You need, you know, you can't replicate Peloton, but you can use it as an inspiration to come up with ideas about and think about your customers and how you might be able to help them.
So there's another question. How do you see a coach or therapist doing a done for you service?
Well, I think you do a done for you already. I think that is, I mean, the done for you therapy is being in your therapy room, having that conversation, then that consultation. So
that is the done for you. But
that is, to me, that's the done for you in that industry. But it's the it's how do you take that online? Now, a friend of mine, I'm in a marketing mastermind group with a guy that runs a website called counselingtutor.com, and he has resources to help student counselors pass their exams. And he quickly threw together this course on how counselors can take their counseling business online, and it's gone through the roof. He's selling, I mean, it's £49 for this course, but the point is people are doing it. It's happening everywhere now. People are going online, and I think they'll stay online. I think a lot of the consultations people won't want to, they'll realize, well, I don't need to get in the car. I don't need to drive. I don't need to park. I can have just as rich an experience by sitting in my room on Zoom.
Thank you, Brad. And then also we've got somebody, Andrea, who was I think our acupuncturist. And Andrea said, is the best way to post online videos to record them on YouTube first, then to upload them onto Facebook. Trouble with Facebook, it's all my friends. How do you widen the market? But I think that's about referring, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would create the video. Now you can do the video as again, you know, a video. Don't overthink the creating of content. It's the content that is the value bit. It's the message that you're putting out there, which is the value initially. But if you create the content, you create the video, use an iPhone, use a webcam on your laptop, do a PowerPoint presentation and record it. You can record a 5-minute video for free using Jing. If you just Google Jing from TechSmith, you can record a 5-minute video for free. There's also, what's the other one that I'm using? Tiny Make, I think they're called. Yeah, Tiny Take is another one that I've been using lately. You get 10 minutes, I think, for free there. Create your video and then you put that up on Facebook, put that up on YouTube. But when it comes to putting videos, I would steer clear of your personal profile. If it's your business, you have to have a business page. You should start with a business page. Put your videos up on your business page. You're going to need to build a following. You're going to need to get people to like your business page. Maybe if you can create a Facebook group where you can get people that are interested in your topic, and they can all kind of be talking together. We have a free Facebook group of people that are interested in finding property deals. You know, it's been going for 3 years and there's nearly 7,000 people in it. You know, it provides a rich kind of picking ground for prospects, let's call them. Doesn't sound great, does it? But yeah.
Any other slides that you just wanted to go through before?
Oh yeah, there was some, what was it here? Yeah, these are just some online business models. So coaching, consulting, program. So all these people, right? So here's another scenario, right? Let's say that you have an expertise in a certain area. So we've had quite a few today. You can create a blog. If you create a blog where you show people how to do certain things, you can, in your area, you write blog posts and you can become an affiliate to lots of different products that they might want to then go and purchase in order to actually implement on what it is that you're showing them in the blog post, for example. So that's being a blogger.
Any specific examples on that, Brad?
So let's say that you're let's say that you're a let's say that you're a physiotherapist. You're a physiotherapist, you've got a physiotherapy blog, and you can sell your own course to the people that come to your blog and read your information, but you can become an affiliate and sell other people. You can become an affiliate and you can sell products on PhysioRoom
or something.
Yeah, on PhysioRoom.com, or you can link through to Amazon and be an Amazon affiliate. These are all getting into, this isn't a short-term fix. This is the first bucket. Well, this is the second bucket of activity where you're shoring up your business and you're creating an online area of profit center for your business, you know. So YouTubers are making a lot of money. Yeah.
We just had a question from Adam Lazarus, who runs a personal training fitness business. He said, are Facebook ads the same as Facebook boosted posts?
Yes.
Because he's boosted some posts before to a wider audience and wondering if this is the same as
it is, Adam. I would, you can seriously, if you're too kind of fast and loose with your cash with Facebook, you'll soon rinse the wallet. So I would get a basic training education before you dive in. And you can go on to, if you just Google Facebook ads course, I forget what they call it now. I'll try and find the link. But spend 2 hours, spend 2-3 hours investing in your education. It's not even, you don't have to invest money in it, just invest the time into learning how it basically works. Because if you run it, and then so many people go onto Facebook, they go, oh, I tried it, it doesn't work. It's not a billboard. It's not slap up a billboard on, you know, on the Westway and, you know, you should get customers. It just doesn't work like that. It's a very sophisticated platform that if it will help, it gives you a massive return on investment if you just invest a few hours and you test some ads and you understand what you're doing.
Great, thank you. So we've got, like, we're coming up to the end.
Takes time.
Yeah, we've got a few more minutes. Any last points that you want to raise, or any last questions, anybody out there? Just had a thanks. How often, hold on, how often do you need to post on Facebook, would you say?
Oh, ideally as often as, well, it's a difficult one. Ideally as often as possible. I mean, posting on your Facebook page has become very hard. You don't really get any organic reach on a Facebook page because they want you to spend on Facebook ads. So you're going to struggle to get reach and to get eyeballs on a standard kind of Facebook post on your business Facebook page. But you need to be showing that you're alive as a business. You're up, you're running, you're engaging with people. You're there, ready to talk, ready to engage, ready to do business, ready to help people solve their problems. So you should really be posting at least once a day. But then if you get some engagement on one of those posts, that's when you can kind of then go and boost the post. That might be a way to kind of consider it. Or you go and boost the post to your Facebook likes, or you then go and choose interest targeting, demographics, you know, maybe kind of choose an area locally to you where you might want to be targeting certain people. It's very difficult. Yeah, it's hard to give you a really simple, it's a whole course in itself. That,
yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad, I think that's kind of a coming to the end. Thank you very, very much. If I'm going to start the clapping as a reaction, but thank you very, very much for sharing all your knowledge.
Pleasure.
That was really, really fantastic. Much, much appreciated.
Pleasure.
And
Thank
we
you.
will be uploading this onto our YouTube channel, so you can watch it all over again. If you want, and also, as I said before, if anybody wants a one-to-one meeting with myself, which actually isn't Debbie Sheldon, we're just using Debbie Sheldon's account, it's Joe Sadie or Hannah, and I'm going to unmute Hannah. Hannah Mindell, we are here to help and provide one-to-one support for all of you. But thank you very, very much, Brad, much appreciated.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks, everybody. Good luck. Have a good.
Thank you.